known as CN Woman on YouTube for Central New York. And I am working on MJ's Off the Hook 2-day throw blanket. I've been working on it for a while. It takes me longer than 2 days to do it. I am using a Karen anniversary cake, and I'm doing pretty well with that. When you look at the blanket, you're looking at it across. I'm working from one end to the other. So when this is done, we'll have vertical stripes. Hi, Madeline. Welcome in. And welcome in, Kristen. Good afternoon. And welcome in, Ronnie. Everybody's popping in. And Madeline says good afternoon, too. I'm working on MJ's Off the Hook 2-day throw. I linked to it in the description for the video. It's a free pattern, so you can totally do it too. I'm using a Karen anniversary cake. She actually calls for Bernat Blanket Perfect Phasing yarn. I had an anniversary cake, so I decided to do that. And Madeline says, hello, everyone. And Kristen says, hi, Madeline and Ronnie. So we're in good shape. We'll get some more people. I like the colors. You wouldn't think these colors would go well together, but somehow they do. My friend who knits and crochets commented on that over the weekend when I took this over to her house to work on. She was like, yeah, that actually looks good together. Let's see. I will not be doing a live on Thursday because a friend is taking me out for dinner. He got a hold of me last night and said, please, can I go see you before I leave for visiting family in New Jersey? And I said, sure. So we're going to hit the restaurant in town. That's a bar and grill. Madeline says she's been doing hats. And they're red and black on the loom. Very cool. So no live on Thursday. And I'll probably take Wednesday and Friday off as well. So next time you see me, it'll be Saturday sometime, probably in the morning, because I have a percussion show to go to in the afternoon. And then I'm taking Sunday morning off because I have to go see my aunt out near Verona, where the casino is. She is going to be moving in the next week and a half into assisted living. And Ronnie says, love those colors. Madeline says, love those colors. And Ronnie says, on my last row of second hat of 3. Okay, cool. So my aunt's moving into assisted living. This is the one whose husband died a couple of weeks ago. Maybe about 3 weeks ago. And her daughter's staying with her, getting all her accounts straightened out and everything. Madeline says, awesome, Ronnie. And Sunflower says, agree with Madeline. You like the colors? Very cool. Sunflower Sue. And welcome in. So I want to go see my aunt before she moves. And Madeline says, hi, Sunflower. You know, it's her last weekend in the house, and then she's going to move the week after. So it's going to be a process. And Sunflower says, hi, Madeline. So we're getting there. I'm using a 9mm hook for this, by the way. It's a Prim ergonomic hook. If you experience pain while you crochet, I highly recommend these Prim ergonomic hooks or the Boy ergonomic hooks. They're very good, and they're reasonably priced. They are not a frills hook. This is a plastic hook, and the Boy hooks have like a rubberized bottom, and they have a metal top. And Madeline sent 2 100s. Very good. Sunflower Sue says it's going to be tough on your aunt. Well, it'd be tougher if she was living in the house all by herself. She's actually looking forward to moving into assisted living because they will clean her apartment for her. They'll clean like her room for her. I think it has a couple of rooms in it. And then there's common spaces, and then they cook your meals for you and manage medication for you. So she is like all over it. She's like, yeah, move me in. Can't wait to leave. So excited. You know, because she's got the money to cover it. And that would be a huge thing for her, you know, to be able to, not be alone in the house. And my cousin, her daughter, loss of her spouse and new living in assisted living. Yeah, it's been hard. And Kristen says, oh, that's good. Yeah, her daughter has a friend who is retired military and lives nearby the assisted living and can actually take her to doctor's appointments and stuff like that. And Knoxer says, that is so pretty. Thank you. It's a Karen anniversary cake. I'm not sure what color it is. I could look. Hang on one second. Let me fix this stitch. Glory, hallelujah. Here we go. I don't know what I'm doing. And Madeline says, hi, Knoxer. Let's see what color this is. It is Mary Maximus. So I had a few of these that I gave to a friend, and Knoxer says hello. I still have one left, and Jay's here and says hello, Mindy. And Knoxer says hi, Madeline. Welcome in, Jay. Welcome in, everybody. And Madeline says, hey, Jay. Hi, Jay. Be there for her even by her move. Get grief support in grief process weeks afterwards. It's harder than at first. Yeah, I know that because my dad died a few years ago and I processed it differently. How much were they? I might have to convince my mom to buy some for me. Also, where did you get it from? I got it from Michael's. They're not available anymore, unfortunately. They were released around Christmas time. They were a limited edition. But they may come out with new ones next year or later this year. And Jay wants to know, is this the Suzette stitch? Yes, it is. I'm doing MJ's Off the Hook 2-day throw blanket. And the link to the free pattern on her blog is in the description for this video, so you can find it. I'm working it lengthwise, so it's worked this way, so it'll actually have vertical stripes. Over the weekend, Michael's had a 25% sale on yarn, says Madeline. And Jay says, I'm working on a baby blanket in the same stitch right now. Cool. And Sunflower Sue says, Google it. You may find some of the same yarn on eBay or Etsy selling by a private person. Yeah, it'll probably be more with resellers. That's the only thing I warned you about. Because originally these went for $40. I bought them on sale for $25 or $26. So you'll, and Jasmine says hello. Welcome in, Jasmine. And Madeline says, hi, Jasmine. I read out the chat for people who are have low vision. Because my parents both had glaucoma and my dad was blind at the end. He could kind of see, but it was mostly shadows. So, and Jasmine says, hi, Madeline. So this is one pattern that works with Karen anniversary cakes because you get a throw out of it. I'll turn the pattern so you can see what it looks like. I'll turn it the way it's meant to be, like so. And you can see you get long runs of color. There you go. So that's what it looks like. But I'm working it up and down, basically. And Tania says, thank you. I'm blind in the right eye. Thank you. Madeline says, all good. You read everyone's comments. And Jay says, it looks beautiful, Mindy. Thanks. Yeah, it's got a weird orangey rust color. It's got green in it, like Kermit green, sky blue, lavender, and then like a lighter blue in it. And they're like random stripes, basically. Jay says it looks beautiful, Mindy. And Tania says that is very pretty. And like I said, I'm using a 9mm hook with it. And it is MJ's Off the Hook, free pattern. And it's linked in the description for the video. So you can go there too. Because it's not my pattern, it's somebody else's. And I always give credit where credit's due if I can. And Jay says, it reminds me of a kid's playroom color scheme. And Madeline says, later, bye. Okay, Madeline, have a good one. So we're getting there. I usually rotate my whips or my works in progress. So you're not seeing the same thing all the time. I have a few whips going right now. I have 4 of them, I believe. I also put out a video that's very, very short, where I literally count my labels for February, and I won't spoil it by telling you how many skeins of yarn I used, but I'm keeping track of how many skeins I use per month, with the idea that I'm using stash yarn. I have ordered some yarn. I got some yarn in from, and Ronnie says I had Qdoba yesterday. Okay. That's Mexican food? And one tip with the anniversary cakes is leave the little plastic strap around it. It kind of helps keep it together, so it's not so bizarre when it collapses. I'm pulling from the inside because that's the way they say to use it. There's an easy start tab to pull from the inside. And I'm just leaving it on the bench beside me. And Fatma says hi. And Ronnie says burritos. Okay, cool. Yeah, we have Chipotle here. We don't have Qdoba. We have Chipotle, and then we have a one called Moe's. So, and you know, the local places too. But for chains, that's what we have around here for Mexican. And Chili's, of course, because Chili's has quesadillas and fajitas. And I have clients coming in tomorrow to work. I was trying to get their paperwork ready today, but it was hard because we were still working on their product, putting it together, doing some welding and stuff like that on it. I write technical manuals for our products. So, and Ronnie says I'm getting a restaurant built down the road. Oh, okay, cool. And Kristen says, I didn't end up going to Annapolis today. My friend bailed at the last minute. Oh, that sucks. And Tania says, I subscribe, but I do have to go now. I'm making an order for St. Patrick's Day scrunchies. Good night. Okay, thank you for coming in. Thank you for subscribing. Like I said, I'll probably go live on Saturday morning sometime. If you're subscribed, you'll get a notification when I go live. And Tanya says, okay, silent. Very cool. All right, have a good one. And it's Sangel. And says, hi, what did you think of the skirt? I commented on it. I said I like the colors a lot. They're really pretty. And you used unusual stitches too. You know, you used a great variety of stitches, so it looks really good. And if you haven't seen Sangel's skirt, go check out the community button on my channel. There's a picture posted there of the skirt. Thank you. I get my yarn from the thrift shop and it's a whole lot cheaper. Cool. I've never had good luck finding yarn in the thrift shops around here, unfortunately. I mean, do you unwind sweaters too? You know, like reclaim the yarn from a knit sweater or a crocheted sweater? And Sandra says I mainly go to Goodwill. Okay. Yeah, we have one Goodwill around here, and we're gonna be getting a second one, I think, in Syracuse. Um, there's one near my house, but they never have yarn. And I haven't gone thrifting that much. I did when I first started working because I needed clothes and I was going through weight loss, so I was going to only be in them for a few months at one size. So I got stuff at Thrifty Shopper, which is our rescue missions store, and I got some at Goodwill as well. I did get an order in from Yarnspirations yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah. When they had some Bernat blanket on sale. They had like all their speckled yarns on sale a couple of weeks ago, and it was $6 a ball, and it was a good deal for it. Even with the $10 shipping, I got 8 balls, so it wasn't too bad. And Jay says, I have one Goodwill nearby, and I occasionally check for yarns and patterns, and I don't get anything good very often. Usually just crochet thread to hold with other yarn to make marled projects. Ah, okay. Interesting. Yeah, I mostly work with larger, heavier weight yarn now. So I got myself quite the collection of yarn last year when I was finding deal after deal after deal. So I'm mainly working from stash this year. Although I'm not, I did find some good deals on Walmart. I've never checked Goodwill for yarn, says Kristen. I didn't know it was an option. Yeah, you might be surprised. Maybe there's something. There's also what's called a creative reuse store. They go by different names. You may want to check and see if there's one of those near you. Um, I know that I've seen what the concept is. Like they have quilting supplies, they have yarn, they have artist supplies like colored pencils and paints and canvases and stuff like that. People donate their excess craft supplies and then they mark them appropriately and sell the stuff at a discounted price. And I've seen videos with people who have gone to the creative reuse store and gotten really nice yarn. Really nice yarn. I mean, obviously you want to freeze it first and make sure there's like no moths or creepy crawlies in it or anything like that. You know, do your due diligence for that so that you don't bring in something accidentally into your stash that ruins your other yarn. But yeah, I'm doing pretty good on the using yarn up from my stash. You know, I thought I'd only use like 10 balls a month, and I wildly underestimated what I was going to use. I'm happy to say. So, this, of course, will count as 4 or 5 skeins because it's only one skein, but it's only one cake, but it's huge. And Kristen said, I saw, congratulations. Thanks. Yeah, I tried to keep it short, you know. Oh, and I hit 5,200 subscribers today. So that's amazing. It was only last month that I hit 5,000. So I've gained another 200 subscribers. Where they all are, I don't know. Because you would think lots of people would watch videos, but they don't. So there's a lot of people subscribed who don't watch stuff or don't participate in chats. So it's kind of weird. You know, it's like if a quarter of the people came to the chat or watched a video, I would be happy. Of course, I'm happy with what I've got. And Jay says, congratulations. Kristen says, congratulations. Yeah. So there's a lot of people subscribed who don't actually watch my videos. So I don't know. Of course, I'm subscribed to some people's feeds that I don't watch their stuff that often. You know, my tastes have changed a little bit over the past year. I'm more into crochet podcasts than I am knitting podcasts now because I'm doing more crochet, obviously, than knitting. The only thing I'm knitting on right now is a sweater, and that's few and far between because the blankets take precedence because they're for charity. So far, I've got 3 blankets done for next month. 2 of them are, one is a toddler blanket, one is a baby blanket, and one is a teenage size blanket. So that's good. This will be a teenager size blanket. It just seems like it takes forever because I'm working end to end instead of across sideways, you know, like I'm working sideways. But it's okay. I mean, it's a nice, easy pattern. I really like this pattern. It works well. I'm going to use it again. So you will see this pattern again. Hi, Kanal. Welcome in. Whoops. That didn't quite work out. Hang on 1 second. There we go. And Kathy, aka Crazy Knitting Nana, says, hi, Mindy, and all in the chat. Hi, welcome in. Kristen says, hi, Kathy. We're getting there with this blanket. You know, I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. The skein has collapsed a lot. It's over there, right there. And it used to be round and big and 35 ounces. And now there's more yarn in the blanket than there is in the skein. So that's good. What do I want to make for dinner tonight? I might make myself a quesadilla. Possibly. I don't know. And Kristen says, I'm making leftovers of a pesto with chicken that I made last night. Oh, okay, cool. I'm not a basil kind of girl. So I'm not very spicy at all. You know, any kind of spice, I don't go for. Or flavoring. I'm kind of weird that way. You know, like like I like rosemary and chives and paprika, but peppers and things like that, I'm not crazy about different kinds of peppers. Or cilantro. And Kristen says, oh, I love basil. And she says, once I'm hungry, that is. About making the leftovers. And Kristen says, I hate peppers of every variety. Yeah, it's kind of weird because I actually grew them one year in a garden when I was in college. And I was home for the summer because my dad liked them. And Jay says cilantro is definitely an acquired taste, in my opinion. Yeah, they say it can taste like soap, is what I've heard. I just don't like the smell of it. I don't like the taste of it. I'm just not a cilantro girl. I mean, give me some nice chives on a baked potato. I'm all over it. Or like some spring onions. Those are good too. And I'll even eat chopped up tomato in salsa now. And I like avocados in guacamole. And Kristen says, I've never acquired it. It tastes like soap to me. So let me turn my work again. This blanket's getting there. It goes from my ankles up to my waist, so it's a pretty wide blanket. But I'm going to use all the yarn up. Let's see. Kathy says, we went to a local to us restaurant called Lost in Taste. I've tried to talk to the owner about the hat he has asked me to make him, and he's not been there. Oh, okay. Any other time he would be there, says Kathy. And Kathy says, Kristen, to me too. I think she means about the cilantro, never acquiring a taste for it. And it tastes like soap. I think that's what you mean, right? And Kathy says, beautiful. I mean, I tend to use free patterns. Don't get me wrong. I'm not opposed to using a paid pattern. I'm using a paid pattern on my beat book. But for these crocheted blankets, I tend to use either a YouTube tutorial or I use a free pattern. So it's what I do. I mean, because it doesn't have to be. Excuse me. I'm yawning. I don't have to use a complicated pattern with super bulky yarn. I can use a simple pattern. And Kathy says yes. And I got sleep last night. I went to bed at like 9:30 last night and got up at 6. I did not see the lunar eclipse because we had cloud cover. But I have seen a lunar eclipse before. So it's not like I've never seen one before. Kathy says I use free patterns at times. Yeah, I mean, if it's a good pattern and somebody else has done the math for me to get the measurements, I'm all over it. Kristen says, I forgot to check last night. However, we probably had cloud cover too. And Jay says, it's currently snowing here in New Hampshire. It's currently snowing here in Syracuse too. It started this afternoon before I got out of work at 4. So it's like pelleted snow. So it was like kind of an icy coating of snow. But not to drive. It wasn't icy to drive. It was just kind of, I don't know, pelleted snow. I don't know how to explain it. So it went when it hit your coat and kind of rolled off. Let's see. Kristen says it was raining here in Maryland. Now it's just foggy. And Kathy says we didn't see the blood moon either. Jay says, yep, almost like hail, but still snow. Yeah, ours might be lake effect. I'm not really sure. Because we had some warm up in temperature, so the ice might have melted a little bit on the Great Lakes. Kathy says 50 degrees here in Southwest Virginia, and it's supposed to get up into the 70s starting tomorrow. Y'all keep the snow and cold. Yeah, we'll have snow until April. It just is the way it is. And the geese haven't come back yet, the Canada geese. So it's not quite spring yet. We get like one day where it's nice and then it goes back to snowing. Don't say that. I have my fingers crossed for a non-snowy Easter, says Jay. Yeah, I've gone to, when I was a kid, we used to go to a sunrise service at my aunt's church or my cousin's church, actually, because my aunt didn't attend because she was agoraphobic. But her daughters went to church, and we would have the sunrise service in a field at like 6 o'clock in the morning. And one year, no kidding, it snowed. And I've been to one at my church where it snowed. And then the next year it was like 70. So it all depends. I live in Syracuse. We're known for our snow. Easter is the first Sunday in April this year instead of the second. Oh, okay. Yeah, these days I would watch my church service on TV because I have YouTube on my TV, and the local church does a YouTube broadcast. I don't do well with crowds, so that's how I choose to go to church. And, I'll donate money with tithing online. Let's see. Kathy says, we will see more cold and maybe snow before April is over. Mother Nature is off her meds again. LOL. And Kristen says, LOL, Kathy. And my uncle is supposed to get out of the hospital. My uncle with dementia that's been in the hospital for like a week and a half, 2 weeks, is supposed to get out of the hospital midweek and go to a nursing home for short-term rehab. And then where they place him from there, they're not exactly sure. So it'll be a process. his family is visiting and all of that. So, good grief. Glad to hear he is doing well enough to go to rehab. Yeah, I mean, he's not aware of what's going on around him, obviously. The dementia's that bad, like he doesn't recognize his wife and stuff like that. And Kristen says, I'm glad to hear that too. So that's why he has to go to a nursing home. They have to get him mobile again. And he needs to get physical therapy, occupational therapy, all that kind of stuff. All the therapies. Sending hugs and prayers, says Kathy. Thank you. I appreciate that. I worked as a CNA in a nursing home and it was heartbreaking. You're welcome. Yeah, my dad was in a nursing home for about 10 years before he passed. Um, his was one of the good ones, though. I mean, single rooms, staff that actually cared. Um, food wasn't the greatest, but you can kind of live with that if you're getting actual good care. You know, like he only had to complain about one CNA once in the entire time he was there for 10 years. I mean, they're constantly understaffed, but that is the way of things. You know, when you don't pay somebody a decent wage to do that job, it's hard to recruit people into it. Which reminds me, I should probably call one of my dad's sisters tonight. It's been a while since I've heard from her. And that's good to hear. Yes, it is hard to get good help when they barely pay the minimum wage. Yeah. I think you have to have a calling to do that job, you know. You have to have a lot of patience. And because you do have a lot of patience that you're working with, unfortunately, you know, patience with a C and patience, the other kind of patience. And Kristen says, I agree, Mindy. And Camille's Creations is here and is waving. Hi, Camille. It's going good, Camille. Are you doing a live tonight? Every night. Wow. So you should check out Camille's Creations. She's doing a bunch of different projects, but she's doing a queen size blanket for a DV shelter in her area of Texas. And it's really pretty. You should check it out. It's called the Stitcher Hood. She and some other creators, our YouTube creators, are doing this project. Let's see. And Madison says, "Hey, I'm about to make a leggy frog." And Kathy says, "Yes, you do. Sadly, there are many just not cut out to do the job or abusive." Kristen says they had to file charges against one of the nurses at my mom's place because how she was treated a few times last year. Oh, that's terrible. I'm sorry to hear that. Kathy says, "Hi, Camille." Camille says, "Hi, Kathy." And Kathy says, Kristen, I hate to hear that. And Kathy says, "Hi, Madison." And again, I read out the chat for people who have low vision. And Madison says, "How do you ever pull yarn like that?" Well, let me show you my setup. My yarn's over here on a tote, and it's coming across, and I do this. So it kind of wraps around my pinky and then goes over my forefinger, my index finger, I guess you'd call that. And I'm kind of letting the hook pull the yarn as I go. I'm on like the last stages of this skein, so it pulls pretty easily. So it's not like I've got to pull out a whole bunch of yarn at one time. It's pulling pretty easily right now because there's barely any left. I mean, in comparison to like 35 ounces of yarn. This is a Karen anniversary cake. So there was like over 35 ounces of super bulky weight yarn. And I'm doing MJ's off the hook 2-day throw blanket, which is Suzette stitch. And I linked to her free pattern in the description for the video. Let's see. And Kathy says, I put up a new video on Sunday. Cool. And WD, the draftsman, sent me a super chat. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Very nice of you. Kristen says, luckily my mom had a fierce protector and my father has a fierce protector in my father, and she also knows how to use her voice, so to speak. Good. Yeah. But I'm sorry that she had to go through that. And Kathy says, that's great, Kristen. Yeah. And Kristen says, thank you. We're getting there. We're getting there. Like I said, I'm probably going to have a quesadilla for supper because I've got some low-carb tortilla, soft tortillas, and some shredded cheese I can have. Came to a wonky spot in the yarn, so all I'm going to do, I'm not going to cut it, I'm just going to wrap it like so. And kind of, well, I'm going to have to do this like this. Sorry, I'm just kind of twisting this up so it doesn't, so I don't cut it. Sorry. There we go. Back to normal. So that stitch will be a little puffy, but at least it's still in one piece. I didn't want to cut it because what's the point in cutting it? You know, it'll be fine. Sorry, my stomach. I ate a little something before I got on the air, and my digestive system decided to like make noise. I had this before I got on the air. It's from Walmart. It's cheddar cheese, dried sweet cranberries, and roasted almonds with sea salt. And you get like half of the cranberries and the almonds are on one side, and then the cheese is on the other side. Oh, it's so good. It's like a nice snack. And they're pretty cheap too. You know, it controls my portions for me. So, and I was good. This afternoon I got hungry after lunch. You know, like mid-afternoon I was hungry. So we have a cafeteria. So I actually went in and I bought a protein bar. I was good. Kathy says sounds yummy. I think we've done pretty well today. And Camille's creation sent a laughing disco. Okay. Very cool. Awesome. Thank you very much. Wish they had more to choose from. Hey, anything good. It's awesome. I appreciate the gift. I should say gifts because somebody sent a little super chat. Somebody sent me some gifts before. It's the only 250 they had. Aw, thank you. And Beautiful Earth is here and says hello. Hi, Beautiful Earth. Welcome in. Camille says not trying to laugh at you. You can. I laugh at myself all the time. It's one of those days where I'm like, okay, really, guys? You know, we got clients coming in tomorrow for factory acceptance testing on our product at work, and we're still welding stuff together. I'm like, are you kidding me, guys? I got to write the technical manual for this thing and give them a work in progress technical manual. And Camille sent me a floating heart. Very cool. And 100. Ah, you're very sweet. And another 100. I'm getting gifted left and right. Awesome. Thank you. And another 100. You made my day. You just gave me all you had. Aw, that's sweet, Camille. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, so work was like, you know, running around, getting paperwork off the floor, you know, getting my reports together. And I got to give them to my manager's manager to review. So, and Jamar says, Bastian Big. Welcome in. And Camille says, I better get to work. See you soon. Okay, sounds good. So everybody should check out Camille's Creations tonight. All right. I think, and Kathy says, bye, Camille. I think I'm going to wind it up because I think it's getting to be 6 o'clock, if I am not mistaken. It is actually 6:01. So I'm going to wind it up for this evening, at least on the live. I'm going to keep working on this blanket tonight. And Kristen says, have a good night. You too. Good night, everybody. See you Saturday sometime in the morning.